Hello, one and all, and welcome to the third and final pre-season race ahead of League of Europe Season 4. We're here with Lobby 2, or de facto Division 2, ahead of the season which is going to start at Albert Park next week. But for now, we focus on our pre-season race with the grid that's going to be taking on the second division of League of Europe here in Season 4. So we're going to see how these drivers truly stack up against each other here today. To take you through it, it's going to be me, QVR Daka, and joining me as usual in the commentary box is Mr. QVR Verstappen. How you doing, fella?
Hello everyone, and welcome to indeed the third pre-season race here at Silverstone. I'm doing quite well. We're here as in fact the same as in real life at Silverstone. So I'm seeing Packard just spun out of turn 3 already. It's not a great way to start it. Anyway, yeah, we'll hope with 16 drivers. Not as many as usual. We'll still hope for a great race today.
Yeah, Silverstone usually produces some great racing, and of course always in this division as well, so it's going to be a good one. So let's get it underway. Starting off, the first car on track I believe is QVR Sparholt. We're watching him in that Alfa Romeo. We'll see how he stacks up against the rest of this grid. I don't think he's raced in at least the last, I don't know if he's raced at all in the pre-season races, so we're going to be a first real test to see how he matches with the rest of the Division 2 grid which he's been placed among. So we'll see how he gets on as he's heading down the hangar straight now, going very slowly, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe just backing up, getting the tyres in order, as quite important to do at Silverstone. Very long lap, very technical lap, very high speed, so yeah, getting right in the window is very important, and getting a good lap in, of course, in qualifying is going to be all important. To take you through it, QVR Verstappen, let's see how Sparholt gets on in his first flying lap in qualifying.
As he gets through the second part of Club Turn 18, opening up towards the first turn is Abbey. And now into turn 1, flat out dies, and into Farm Curve turn 2, and down into Village, into turn 3, back down to third gear, clipping that curve nicely, and into the loop, into turn 4, into second gear he goes. Open up the throttle quite early, short shifting, and now into A3, and opening up the DRS onto the Wellington straights. Now down on to Brooklands, turn 6, first sector split, 27.4 as he cuts the track a little bit at Brooklands and invalidates, unfortunately. I think in behind we have MMA Slash. We'll go for him as he is coming through Luffield. Difficult corner to get the traction right. We saw Hamilton spin there today in Q2 into Wisco's, flat out easily, and another probably easy flat. Let's see MMA Slash. There's he take it flat, a little bit of wobbling there through Cobb's corner, 300 kilometers an hour plus, but did it nicely. Now through Maggots and back, a phenomenal section here. 7th gear, now to 5th gear for turn 13 and 14 into Schaffel. Open up the DRS. 1:15 seems quite quick already. Let's see, down into Stowe. Let's see what he can do. See, brake quite late into 5th gear there, 6th back up, and Tony Valle on the exit there. Quite nicely down into the Ville chicane, and now down into 2nd gear. Let's see, open up for Club and the second part of it. Let's see, as it comes across the line, 124.6, decent left. As Spack comes to the line with a 0.7, Spack in behind with a 0.8.
Yeah, decent laps all round. Anything in the 24s is pretty solid. McCrew on a 25.3, a little bit off, so he's going to look to improve there. He's in that beautiful black Mercedes car. It just looks absolutely awesome out on track. Anyway, I'm going to look towards the end of the lap, and Ryan goes quickest with a very fast lap, a 24.4. Skiesy up to the line, does a 25 flat, but invalidated. Car Mentalist up to the line, and it's 5th place. Pops him just in front of Ben JS. Still 4 drivers in that 24 range. So that's kind of the golden standard. We might be seeing lap times in the very low 24s, possibly even in the 23s, but that might be quite unlikely. We'll see how they get on then, as I think Wesker up to the line, and that's not a representative time. B. Morgan is round Club now, plants that throttle pedal, and around the final corner, where does he stack up as a 24.8, puts in P4, a pretty decent lap. Now 5 drivers in a 24, but Ryan, yet again, over 1 lap, showing his prowess as the D4 champion, immediately pressing 24.4 to open up the session. That's very, very competitive.
That's definitely very competitive, and I think we've seen Iro Dillon now on the lap. As he's coming through Luffield, very aggressive towards the apex of it, and now opening up 4th and 5th gear, open up to Woodcote as he comes through to Cobb's corner.
Yeah, indeed. Now, of course, Klopp's completely flat. If you get the line right, a little entry lift from Dylan, maybe because he clipped the grass, was lacking a little bit of confidence going in there. Now into Maggots. Keep it nice and flat through there. Slight dab of the brakes into Beckett's there and open up for the exit into Chapel Curb there. Run it out onto the grass very slightly. Use as much of the track as you can to maximise that apex speed. A 1:14 for the first two sectors is very quick. That's right up there with Ryan's time, I think, if he nails this final sector. Takes a nice wide entry into Stowe. Sixth gear. Run out onto that outside curb there. Plant the throttle yet again into the Vale there. Onto the brakes. Into third gear. Second to rotate the car. Short shift into third and into fourth. Run out on the exit of the club. A little bit delayed on the throttle, but he's going to plant it now and he goes second. A good lap from Iro Dillon there, just a 600th shy of that mark from XL Ryan, so he's put himself right up there in those mid 24s in the early part of the session, seeming to be the benchmark. So we see how many drivers can get up into that region and how many of them can push it later on in the session and maybe get into those low 24 marks. Of course, it's very possible, but it's going to take the right lap, and the driver that can hook up that perfect lap is going to be right up the front of the grid in a great position ahead of the race.
I just want to know that Wesker has done a 25.4, but it's on the medium, so he might be able to set a decent lap time later on the softs, or maybe a tend to start on the mediums. It's, quite noticeably, it's usually a one soft strategy, soft and mediums. You'll see that later, but it might be going opposite. You never know.
Yes, indeed. Of course, typically if you're starting, typically I think it's usually a no-brainer to start on the softs here, but of course you can always go for separate strategies on that. Anyway, we're gonna go aboard now as Savino has just started a lap, and I think this might be one of the first impressions that we're gonna get of him in this D2 grid. So we'll see if he gets on. Spag's coming out the pits directly in front of him and is definitely impeding. I'm not sure if he's aware that he's on a hot lap, but yeah, he's getting held up quite a bit by the Williams, I think. Gonna get put off, and just even if it's not actually impeding, just having that car in your eye line is gonna really put you off there. He's trying to use that slipstream and close up to the back of Spag, but yeah, he's on a 27.1 per sector. He's really being held back by him there and spins it going through Brooklands. And yeah, I don't think Spag was aware that he was on a hot lap. That's a very odd situation down there.
Yeah, it's not the greatest awareness being shown there, I'm not gonna lie. But someone who may now be on a quick one is QVR Sparholt. He comes through Brooklands and now down in towards Lovefield. So let's right on board with him.
Indeed, but well there, picks up that throttle on the exit of Lovefield, using that curb there to really maximise the traction off the corner. Now towards Colchester, we'll see if he takes it flat out there. That's the gold standard for lap time round here. It looks like it's flat and very easily so. Now going down towards the famed Maggots and Beckett's Chapel complex there. Through to Beckett's there, you can see he opens that up and tries to bring it into line, so he gets as good a kick off the section as possible there. Gets a decent exit now onto the throttle yet again, using a bit of a toe there. BenJS nearly runs into the back of the Red Bull. He's got to maximise that straight line speed as much as he can into the brilliant Stowe corner there. Fifth gear, a little bit lower. You see drivers using sixth through there. Sparholt opting to rotate the car a little bit more aggressively, and again through Vale, locking up though on the left front's gonna cost him a little bit. You can see that tyre just fades away on the exit of Club Corner, so it's only a 26.3. He'll have hoped for a lot more than that, and Sparholt does have work to do in this session there if he wants to move up. As who was that just approved? I think it was Tiger that puts himself in P4, Foreman Division 3 driver, and showing he's got some strong one lap pace there up in that top 4. That's a good start to his session.
Definitely is, as we have Captain Chops now coming around Phil and Club. Let's see, up into 4th gear. Seems to be on a decent lap, the Renault. And he's coming across the line, 24.8 into P6. Not bad at all.
Not bad indeed for the Renault man. He puts himself right in the mix in this qualifying session. We've still got a lot of laps to come though from a lot of unique drivers. I'm trying to see who's far on one. McCrew is coming down the hangar straight now, 4/10 up on his time, so he can get himself into the 24s with a decent last sector here. Flicks it in, 5th gear, very aggressive entry and very aggressive exit as well, maximising that apex speed into the Vale now. Breaking down 2nd gear up to 3rd, and then upshift into 4th gear to get good traction, but it's not good enough as he goes massively sideways out the corner and spins out of Club, and that's cost him time. He's only 3/10 down on his time for that. That just spiking the rear tyres and just lighting them up, and that's cost him a chance of setting a good lap time. McCrew's going to have to pit, go again. That lap, no good for him.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he's got to go again. But we have BenJS now coming through Club, and let's see what he can do. He's coming across the line. BenJS, and a 1:24.6 up into P4. Good lap time. And Skies is in behind, coming through Club as well. Let's see, open up the throttle. He's not set a lap time so far, but he goes up into P2. Good lap time from Mr. Skyzy, 24.5.
And less than half a tenth off that top mark of Ryan's. He's proved himself to be very competitive, as has Carmentelis. Pots himself just in front of his mate, Iro Dillon there. Those guys very close from second down to fourth. Just a hundredth and a half separating those three cars. They're very tight down there, as we're expecting to see. Ling coming through the final corner. We see his pace earlier on, and that's a decent lap to put himself fifth. He might have hoped for a bit more, but there's time in the session to improve as Packer goes quickest on a 24.3. That is very, very impressive there. The American goes to the top of the timesheets by over a tenth, and such a tight grid. Those margins do matter. The top 12 covered by less than half a second, so all that lap time that you can muster up is going to mean everything, and Packer managing to produce the goods there in that quality session. So far, a tenth up. We'll see if he can stay there for the remainder of the session.
We'll have to see about that indeed, as Wesker is the next one on the lap, as he's coming for Cup's corner just about into Maggots and Baggots. Such a phenomenal section, gotta say, almost flat as this. And now down into fifth gear, and good on traction, very stable there, 1:1.5, seems good, 5 tenths up in his lap time, which was on the mediums. Look at that, he has a Haas ahead of him, which will probably get out of the way, as Carmentelis. Let's see, as he comes for a Stowe corner into Phil, breaking at the 100 meter board there, into second gear, and now using as much track as possible. Let's see, coming across the line goes Wesker as 1:24.6, P9.
3 tenths off the top time gets you P9 in this division. That's the reality. That's what we're going to be seeing all the way through this season. To please get used to those margins. Who is on a complete flying lap at this stage? I don't think there's many. I think Sabino might be one of the few cars that's actually on one, but he's just validated going through Brooklands. So yeah, a bit of a quiet point in the session right now, and yeah, a lot of drivers just gearing up for their final runs, ready to put the lap time down that they can, and we'll see how they all stack up later on. At the moment it's a bit quiet out on track, but in a few minutes time it'll be anything but. Everyone striving, trying to get the best lap times they possibly can in the closing minutes of this quality session.
I definitely think we will see that, of course, and yeah, just to say the gap from P1 to P13 is half a second, and that's just incredibly close. We'll have to see, and we have seen that McCrew can do this quite quickly, and I think Sabino is capable of that as well, as Sparholt as well, so expect a very close end to this qualifying. Yeah, 5 minutes to go. They have a quiet point indeed. He has right on our laps, and I think we get a ride on board with Tiger. Or is Ryan on the lap?
Spack is actually, I think, the furthest along, just coming through. Lovefield picks up that throttle on exit and charges down through Woodcut, easily flat out now, going down towards Copse. We'll see if he's flat there on the entry there. He's very confident, and yes, he uses all the track there, easily flat through that phenomenally high downforce and high speed corner there. Now through Beckett's, going to open up, use as much of the curb as you possibly can to maximise your apex speed, and now get on the power out of Chapel. He's 3 tenths up on his time, which is actually putting him up towards the top in that top 5, so he can target that. We'll see if he can pull out a good last sector here. Set gear through Stowe. Kate takes it very smoothly, runs it out onto the outside curve, now into the Vale, onto the brakes then. He's going to be third gear to keep traction there. He's going to short shift into fourth, run it out onto the curve, use as much of the track as you can. The Williams to the line, and it's a 24.5, goes P6, just behind Dillon, and only a few hundredths shy of Skyzy, but that's 3 positions is the deficit, showing how tight it is in that part of the field. But yeah, Spag, a decent lap, P6 for now. We'll see if he has time to go for another lap and go even further up the leaderboards.
And further in behind, come for the sector 2 spot, we have Tiger, as he's setting a very quick lap time, it seems, as he's getting a bit of slipstream there, and down into Stoke, going in 5th gear very aggressively. And runs a bit wide, and is just about invalid, unfortunately. In behind Webb's Captain Chubbs coming up towards Stowe as well. Let's see, can he keep it on track? He's coming towards, keeps it in 6th himself. That looks very smooth, to be honest, on the Renault, but he goes back into the pits. And we'll be trying for another one. This is 3 minutes to go. So I don't think anyone else is on the lap.
I think the closest is Skyzy. I think Skyzy is the closest. He's near the end of his outlap. Of course, quite a few people bailed on their opening laps, of course, just trying to get a good run, and right at the end of the session there, where the track is at its absolute fastest. Skyzy going a little bit early though. Now he's going to be getting on it out of club, and we'll see how he can get on. Skyzy P3 at the moment. Let's see how he gets on then. Going through Abbey, you can see easy flat there, an easy flat through farm corner as well. Now first braking zone on the lap, into Village there, down into third gear. Lock up on the right front, but he's keep it together through the loop there. Try and get to that curve on the inside, then run it out full throttle on exit to get as much power and momentum onto the Wellington straight as you can as he comes out of Aintree now, going down towards Brooklands. Use that curve there, you can see on the right, really use that to turn in, but he's a little bit down that first sector, so he's got to try and find a little bit more time out of that Williams there. Very wide middle of the corner for Luffield. Scoop it back in and get all the traction you can muster out of your car, and that throttle pedal yet again. Now easy flat Woodcote and just about flat through Copse. You can see he keeps it in 8th gear here to maximise that momentum, and again is able to cruise through Copse without much drama. Now into Maggots and Beckett's, a beautiful section of corners as we've established already in this qualifying session there. Use as much momentum as you can off of Chapel. We'll see where he stacks up. This time he's half a tenth up. He can put himself right in the mix here. He could potentially challenge Parker's lap time if he gets a really good last sector there. Very wide entry into Stowe, using as much of the track as he can on exit. Now down into the Vale, onto the brakes yet again. 2nd gear, 3rd to short shift and get traction, and then again into 4th, into 5th. Full throttle for Skyzy to the line. Does he go fastest? Just misses out, half a tenth shy, but it's P2 for Skyzy, and now we're going to see more drivers on their laps nearing the end of this session. Now Skyzy goes P2, but Packer at the front of the timesheets, and he's still got a lap to do. Packer could be on for pole position if he can just hook this lap up.
Yeah, but in the meantime we have McCrew coming up to Phil, and let's see what's on the 410 improvement coming through the sector 2 split. Let's see, open up the throttle as he comes through club, and onto the line he is 124.7, only puts in P12 unfortunately, and he'll not really be too happy with that. We'll have to see where he gets on, as Packer is on a temporary improvement into sector 1 already. He's looking very strong as he comes through. Luffield there, and now onto the exit, using as much track as possible. Little wobble on the exit. Let's see, into Woodcote as tight as possible, and now towards Copse corner. Let's see, this should be easy flat as he keeps it easy flat there. Runs as much wide as possible he can to use a lot of track. And let's see, through Maggots, and now into Baggots. Let's see, 6th gear through the last bit, and now onto Chapel. Let's see. It's a 1-1-2, 6 thousandths of as he is on the at the moment, and that's through towards the Stowe corner, turning. Look at the downforce he has there, and let's see, coming up to Phil. Let's see what Packer can do. So flag is out right now, and come through club as he opens up the throttle. A little bit of a wobble there again. Let's see, 124.4 doesn't improve. We'll have to wait. I think that's a Red Bull in behind. It's Ben JS. Coming on the line,
whoa!
And he's going 3,000
Look how close that
Packer.
is.
Insanely close.
Unbelievable. And Ryan's invalidated. He was 2 tenths up on his time. He could have absolutely whacked the top time. He was almost 4 tenths up, but that invalidation is going to cost him. It's Lang now, but he's invalid as well. He would have gone into P4, but that is just going to cost him dear as Carmentalist. A huge lap time. As I see Ryan spinning now as well. And we've got B. Morgan, I think, now coming up to the line. He's also invalid, though. 24.9 for him is no improvement. Let's see who else is going to come through. Wesker into the Vale now and opens up club very nicely there. Gets on that throttle as well. And we'll see P10 for the time being. Now P2 in a 24.3, a super lap from Wesker. And now we've got Slash coming round. I think Chubb's going up to the line. He doesn't improve. Slash, big wobble coming off of club. That may just cost him. He still goes P2. If it weren't for that wobble, he might have had pole. Sabino now, no time in the session. Where does he go? It's only P15 for him, and that's going to wrap up a thoroughly exciting quali session. And Carmentalist at the death. Pole position for him by a few hundredths of a second in what must be one of the tightest sessions I've seen in quite some time. Super stuff out there. Carmentalist, who finished second, of course, last time out in France, and now with pole position here, he's setting himself up as a potential championship contender in D2 this season. Fantastic stuff from Carmentalist.
Yeah, definitely. It was an insane lap, .2 there. Yeah, I think the top 5 or 6 was in between a 10th. This is insane. Yeah, top 5, 86 thousandths of a second. That's insane. So I can run you through the grid at the moment. Carmentelis on pole, and then we have Slash in seconds, Wesker and Packer in behind, and then it's Ben JS and Skyzy on the third row. Ryan and Dylan. Ryan has set his lap in the first part of the session, only P7 then. Spack and Ling running up the top 10, and then it's Tiger, McCrew, Captain Chubbs, B. Morgan, Sabino and Sparrow, who all have free tire choice for the race.
And yeah, the top 10, less than 0.3 of a second between them. That's barely enough time to blink an eye. That is just incredible to witness. And hopefully the race will follow suit. We've got 16 hungry drivers out there on the grid. It could be messy. We'll see. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully we get some great racing out there. But yeah, Carmentelis with pole position, and usually he's a guy that's better on race pace than he is on qualifying pace, at least from last season. So we'll see how he gets on there, because he could be in a really good position to wrap up a race win here.
He could definitely be, but there's 5 drivers within a tenth. As you mentioned, 10 drivers within 3/10. Any of them could really pick up the win as long as they stay on track and really get through the field, which is quite hard here considering the DRS trains often that evolve itself. I have to see about who's gonna get that, but Carmentelis is looking in a good position right now. Let's see if he can get that done in the race to maybe get a podium position or even more.
Indeed, we can see how that all fares up, of course, in this game. Going to be a big factor is going to be penalties as well. Very difficult to keep it clean in the races. Carmentelis up the top of the grid there. Of course, all the top 10 are going to be on the soft tyres. You can see the preferred strategies down there at the bottom of your screen. And looking now for the guys outside the top 10, what direction have they gone on strategy?
Well, Tiger, McCrew, Captain Chubbs, Beamer Morgan and Sibinho have all chosen for the mediums, and Sparrow is the odd one out at the back of the grid on soft. So he'll be trying to get through the field as fast as he can, I reckon. Yes. The other guys will go along and just try and stay with the train for now, and probably slam back really at the end of the race.
Indeed, Sparhope going to be one to watch then. Any opening laps there has got to use the most out of those softs, and at a low deck track like Silverstone he can make quite a bit of progress if he's able to keep his nose clean, stay out of trouble. Of course those guys in the top 10 are going to try and pull away, but DRS is very, very powerful. Two very sizable zones on this track down fairly long straights, and that keeps the field very bunched up as long as you don't get a bit silly with battling or mistakes. So yeah, it's going to be one to look out for. So Carmentelis, while he may have pole position, he's definitely got to be looking over his shoulder. Unless he can break DRS in the first 2 laps, then it's going to be a very long day at the office there trying to keep his lead.
Yeah, definitely. It's Slashes in mind. Of course, going to look for that as well. And yeah, not to mention all the other drivers. It's very easy to overtake. Normally, if you're from the train, have the DRS and have just the open speed. There's a lot of opportunities. Then turn 3, Brooklands is one. If you're very daring into Cotswold, I don't see many doing that. And into Stowe, of course, as well, a favourite of mine. So let's see how they get on, and it will be hard for Carmentelis to defend, indeed.
Of course, it can all hinge on the getaway away from the line, and we're going to be seeing how they all get on in just a few seconds' time. Carmentelis approaches his grid slot at the front of the field then, with 15 drivers that are going to be hot on his tail through those first few corners and looking to seize any opportunity to claim that all-important first spot, as now the rest of the drivers settle. Sparholt takes his place at the very rear end of the grid. It's Slash joining Carmentelis on the front row. Who's going to be leading down there into turn 1? We've got 3, 4, 5 lights. And we're away for the final pre-season race ahead of the new season there. Carmentelis looks like he might just be able to convert into turn 1 there. Side by side is going to be Wesker around the outside of Slash. Might just convert that there. And it's going to be Packer trying to squeeze his way down the inside. Going down towards Village there. I'm seeing a lot of spinning there. A bit of contact. Debris flying off one of the cars there. And still side by side. That's between Slash and Packer there. Packer looks to go and get traction around the outside into third place then for the Haas. And he joins his teammate up in that top 3, as well as Wesker closes down down. Carmentos not close enough. As further back there, it's going to be Ryan trying to go right outside of Skyzy. They almost come together, going through Brooklyn's down the inside line. Is with the Racing Point, he might just be able to secure that 5th place. Yes, he does indeed. A lot of swapping down the field there. Sparrow's up a few places. He's side by side now with Sabino and that Mercedes there. They're going to go absolutely together, going down towards Cops, and it's going to be Sparrow backing out of that one behind Sabino. But yeah, a very good start from Carmentos. He maintains that lead. Great start from Wesker, and now he is going to put all sorts of pressure on the leader going down these DRS straights once DRS comes into play. Carmentos with the lead immediately, but holding on to that with a field still so close together is going to be quite some task.
And it might have been Ling who picked up damage, and I saw McCrew spin up to turn 3, so they've not had the greatest start. The rest seems to be all fast. Ryan already picks up a time penalty. That's the first lap. It's not great for him to see. We'll have to see. He has to capitalize on that. Behind we have McCrew getting past Ling. Benjes into the pits. Ling into the pits. As Packer. Don't know what's happened to him.
Timing glitch, I think that is, because he's still fine.
Yeah, that's the second lap usually. Dylan picked up time penalty as well. Not too great. We should get it solved for the next sector split, the timing glitch. So we'll have to see out for then. But in the meantime, we're seeing Carmentos is still out in the lead ahead of Wesker and Slash in P3. I think we should now get it back. A bit confusing for us as well. Last to see.
As watch your back, Slash is under heavy pressure, has been falling back to the field, and now Ryan gets underneath. Camino Lovefield puts on an overtake to try and find an opportunity, might be going down towards Cops, but eventually backs out of that aggressive offensive move. At the moment I'm seeing Ling still out in front. He's just exited the pit, so that should sort itself out. No, it doesn't for the time being at least. But yeah, it's Carmentos is beginning to stretch his legs a little bit, which is what he needs, of course. But DRS is now into play, and sorry, no, I'm getting confused there. It said Wesker was going to get DRS, but it's lap 2. God, it's a very confusing glitch at the moment there. But anyway, it does look like Slash is the one that's struggling up in this lead back. He just caught the grass going into Stowe, and that's just holding him back a little bit. And yeah, Skyzy picks up a penalty. We're seeing these a lot of drivers picking them up early in this race. So that's 3 now, and they're all running in decent enough positions out on track as well. Carmentos fastest lap. He's stretching his legs out there. 8/10 gap ahead of Wesker. So as Sparkle picks up a penalty as well. But Wesker is going to have to really push here if he wants to keep that DRS, because it's going to be so important if he wants to stick with Carmentos up at the front here.
Yes, the gap is a second. I think he should just have enough as this detection zone is just before turn 3 village. So Wesker just about has DRS, but Carmentos looking very pacey at the moment. He's used a lot of his DRS though to try and break that gap, as Packer is kind of pressurizing here on Wesker, and he's looking very feisty as well.
Indeed he is. They're showing good pace earlier on in the race as Packer, and of course he'll want to make that a Haas 1-2 up at the front and maybe take some pressure off of his teammate, who's still just about under pressure in that fight. They're not quite out of that DRS, not out of the woods just yet. Slash and Ryan, these two seem to be very close. They're running it. It's Skyzy that's struggling a little bit. It's a second penalty for Dylan already. Really off it out there at the moment, as Slash does get a good run and starts to close up to Packer just a little bit. Wesker still has that all important DRS off of Carmentos. I don't know where all these penalties are coming from. That's the second one for Ryan as well, so a couple of drivers really struggling to stay within the white lane. To Sparhu off at Chapel there, and that good start they made seems to come undone as he drops well down the field. As further back there, Sabino and Dylan are side by side, going through Stowe, and now going down towards the field. Sabino on the outside, Dylan breaks very late and establishes his position, sweeps through and manages to wrap up that 10th place for now, and he can try and push up now to the pack ahead. One of the lower soft runners, of course, so he's got to try and make some progress out there. We're seeing a lot of battling out there. It's Chubbs that's that leading medium runner, and he's still with that leading DRS trade, so if he can stick with it, he's in a very good place to make a lot of ground in the last few laps of this race.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's now a bit of a DRS train, as I kind of predicted before the race. Ryan is too close to Slash, but not close enough to make a move here for P4. And so calm down quite a bit, yeah, as Benjias is already pitted on, as Bio picked up time penalty there. Ben is onto hards while Ling is onto mediums. I reckon Ling could make the end on those. The deck is really low around here, so maybe if he comes back a little bit of battling at front, who knows what he can do.
Ryan got hugely offline going through Copse, and he might have even picked himself up 2 warnings for his trouble. Really struggling with those track limits at the moment. He's got to try and sort that one out anyway. I'm just watching this battle for the lead. Looks like Wesker is just about safe at the moment now with Carmentos. Carmentos has actually used a lot of overtake. He's actually much lower on ERS than pretty much everyone behind him. So trying to get away out of that DRS range and failing with that is going to leave him very vulnerable, and if Wesker is going to use that to his advantage, he could be right on the back of the Haas, going down, maybe even into Brooklyn's gap is coming down and down all the time, and Carmentos does not have the ERS to defend here.
No, definitely not. He's on 25%, while Wesker has managed it really well in the opening laps, and this was 65. And we'll get even more in through this braking zone, and he might be shaping up a move quite soon, I reckon.
Indeed, but of course he's going to have to get a very good, nice drive coming off of the loop, and I don't think it's quite good enough to challenge Carmentos, and he doesn't even use that overtake just yet. Of course, so difficult to overtake at this track in the DRS train, especially for the guys behind Wesker. They're going to be really up against it if they want to pull off any moves. I had a little bit of an issue there with the stream, apologies there, as yeah, we're good to go now. It's got yellows in sector 1. I think that's Sparho again. He's having a really tough time of it, and that's coming out the loop, making that mistake, and you can see he's really let up those tyres, can't even put the throttle down, and yeah, this race really going from bad to worse for Sparho here. It seems like already he's way out of contention, and it's going to be really up against it if he wants a decent result here.
As Captain Chubb picks up a time penalty there. He's at P8, he's the leading medium runner, so he's trying to stick with Spack ahead, who's got a lot of ERS, I'm surprised by. He's still on 85, so yeah, watch him, he's not out of contention yet.
Indeed, and of course he can use that to good effect, but so difficult to overtake at the moment here. Wesker still pressuring Carmentos, just a few laps away from what's presumably the soft pit stop, when their earliest laps you're going to be seeing is around lap 7. Maybe someone could stretch it or say risk it going into lap 6. We'll see how that all shapes up. Anyway, Wesker is close yet again to the back of race leader Carmentos, who's even lower this time, less than 20% on his ERS. So really, Wesker just has free rein to attack whenever he wants to, but of course, pulling off that overtake, getting a good run through the critical traction zone going onto the straight is going to be so difficult. Does he use any overtake here? No, he doesn't. I wonder if these guys, because it's so difficult to overtake in a train, as you can see in the B, Morgan loses a spot to McCrew out there, who slips through into 12th, now behind his teammate Sabino on track. But I do wonder if Wesker is going to potentially, instead of going for a move on track, because I think he can really set it up with the amount of ERS he's got, but maybe he's going to sit back, look for an undercut on Carmentos potentially, because that's going to make a huge difference, and you can jump several positions in a train if you time your pit stop right. So Wesker could be looking for that, as opposed to going all out and trying to get that place on track.
Yeah, definitely. It seems to be a little break as McCrew is getting past Sabino here down at the Copse. Seems like he just had a better exit as far as picks up another time penalty. Yeah, let's see. Wesker still has a lot of ERS. He has now put on the overtake. He's closing up to the back of Carmentos. Is he going to go for it down into Stowe? Is he closing off? Yes, yes. Down the inside he goes. Side by side. Carmentos looks to be having the better exit out of the two, though, and stays ahead into Phil.
And further back, Tiger was able to get through. He's past Captain Chubb, says into the pits. Comes back very early on lap 6. I think Dylan has followed him in as well. So those guys looking for undercuts. Wesker is all over the rear end of Carmentos now. Carmentos is going to be breaking it up at the front there. He knows that the attack can strike at any moment. Wesker does not fully commit going into Village. Pretty wise decision. He's going to use that opening up into the loop, and I think Carmentos is going to be right up against it. There's no way, surely he can't defend it there. Through entry, he's already right with him. Carmentos uses a bit of overtake to try and keep him back, but Wesker is cruising up to his rear end and now goes to the inside for the lead. Into Brooklyn's there, laying the break, Sparho out the race, but yeah, through goes Wesker. He takes the lead, gets through against Carmentos, managing to use that ERS to his advantage and not even using that much to get the move done. So maybe now if he deploys it, he can get away, and if he can break that DRS, it's going to be a difficult task, but if he can manage it, it's going to put him with so much leverage in this race, and he could be right, well, cruising potentially up at the front of this race. So a couple of very important laps for Wesker and for Carmentos to see if Carmentos can stay with him, or if Wesker can break away in these next few laps.
Yeah, let's see, this top 6 seems to be quite close and staying the same, to be fair, at the moment. It doesn't look like anyone's going for a move, but quite noticeably, Spack is pitted, and he's on for a push, I reckon. So let's see if the undercuts works, as Packer is now into the pits, and Sky is following in him. Tiger picks up time penalty as well.
Yeah, so this is going to be a good indicator as to how well the undercut has worked for Spag there. As Wesker has pulled out that gap now 3/4 of a second, he might still be on for one there. As yeah, Spag just comes off Chapel there. He's purple in that second sector. He is absolutely flying. Can he get positions on track? Sabinho, I think, was a little bit out of shape going through Club, and he has dropped back behind Morgan now as Skyzy and Packer both in. Packer emerges from the pit box, and a few seconds later Skyzy as well, and that Williams emerges there. Is going to be on his way. Spag is coming around the second part of Club at the final corner now. Where does he come out? He should be ahead of Skyzy, I reckon. Where is he relative to Packer, who's getting up to speed now? I think Packer will still be safe as Spag comes out, and he's actually a fair way behind the American, so he's able to get in front of his teammate Skyzy. He was sitting right at the rear end of that train, but now a lot of work to do if he wants to continue to push that undercut there. Packer, with both those leaders staying out, could be a fixture in the lead battle there. If they all hold each other up in the pits especially, Packer could well find himself leading this race in a few laps.
It definitely be. Let's see what his pace is compared to Spag. As yeah, he's 2 seconds ahead of the Williams rider so far. Let's see if we can extend that gap.
Indeed, we'll see. That's Will Wesker running a little bit wide, going through Snowgate, picks up the throttle on exit. Does he pit? Does he stay out? He stays out. Carmentelis then, Slash in, Ryan in. It's Wesker that's been absolutely isolated up at the front, and he may have been caught napping here. We've seen how insane his pace has been in these first few laps, but I don't know, it might come back to bite him in the end there. So Carmentelis leads them into the pit lane with Slash and Ryan just a few car lengths away. The pit stops can change everything, and they're all very close in the pit lane, so we'll see. Slash into the box now. He's going to have a good chance of potentially jumping up there. He exits now. Carmentelis is out fine. He's managed to get ahead, and it's Ryan that's been held up a bit there. He's lost some ground to those two cars in front. Where is Packer? He's round the final corner now. Does he jump ahead of his teammate there for a potential net lead? We'll see. Spag's his fastest lap. That is showing how important that undercut has been. Packer out of the pits. Carmentelis is not there. Packer may be able to snatch a lead with Wesker staying out longer. Packer ahead of Carmentelis now, who struggles for traction going through Village, but he's managed to get that jump on his teammate, and Packer could be on for a net race lead. We'll see how he pulls it off. Slash is struggling as well. He's out of DRS range of Carmentelis. He's got to put in a massive shift if he wants to stay with it there, and a train stretching back to Dillon now forms, but we're just waiting for Wesker's pit stop to see where he emerges in that racing point.
Yeah, definitely. As Ryan, the other racing point, he's lost a lot of ground. He's now behind both Spag and Skyzy, so they've made the undercut work quite nicely. Let's see, I think Wesker might be into the pits right now, and my prediction is completely right as he jumps into the pits. As Slash picks up time penalty as well.
Yeah, that's going to hold back Slash indeed in this race, but we've got a hefty trade now for the race lead. Slash is struggling. What he could do is maybe Wesker coming out between himself and Carmentelis. That might just get him back in contention there, but Wesker is going through the pit lane now. He was leading before those pit stops, but he stayed out longer than anyone. Sabinho's out. Sabinho has retired in the pit lane, in fact, so I'm not sure why. But yeah, he is not going to be able to continue in this race as Wesker now is not up to speed. They're coming round the last two corners now. Where does the racing point emerge? Relative to Packer, it's Carmentelis to Slash and everyone else that's right with them now. Going down the main straight, he's not going to be ahead of Packer surely now. I think he's going to be behind. He might even be behind Carmentelis now. They're going to come out the pits almost side by side. Carmentelis gets his nose in front, locks up, breaks into Village and runs wide, but manages to scoop it back in front. He's done what he wanted to do, Carmentelis, and got that position ahead of Wesker, but he's lost out to his teammate Packer now into the net race lead, and that battling between Wesker and Carmentelis has brought Slash and the rest of the train back into it. So we've now got a huge train, I think 6 or 7 cars right with it, even more than that potentially. I think maybe, I'm just counting, yeah, maybe 8 cars in this lead fight. So it's going to be so crucial for track position now, and they've all got DRS of each other, but Packer's now pulling them all along. What's the strategy going to be at Haas? Is Carmentelis going to attack, or is he going to sit back, maybe defend from Wesker behind him on those fresh tyres, or is he going to go for a move on his teammate there and cause a bit of disturbance down there at Haas?
Yeah, let's see. As Wesker is the one with the most ERS of him, right? Pack is close as well, and Carmentelis is not bad either. But Packer's only on 40, so he's got a little less to defend with compared to the other guys here. And he'll probably be a little bit under pressure, I reckon, quite soon.
I do think Wesker has the most raw pace out of this train, and now with fresher tyres he's going to be able to use that to good effect as he chases down Carmentelis, who chases down Packer. in that battle for the net race lead. Fastest lap to Ryan, and he's honing in on Skyzy just up in front of him. He's got a few penalties, but he's not going to try and let that get in the way of his charge as he sits up behind the Frenchman and maybe setting up a move. Skyzy locks up a little bit going through Village, and he's going to keep himself under pressure, but that DRS might just save him down the straight. And he says running low though on his DRS, and now DRS is going to be open for Ryan. Overtake is deployed. He's going to go for it, I think, now in that slipstream, closing down on the Williams there. Looks to the inside towards Brooklands. Very little races contact between them there. Ryan just about able to keep it on the track. He pushes Skyzy out wide and now tries it round the outside yet again through Luffield. He's going to understeer out there, and Skyzy just about gets his nose in front of an exit. Overtake for both of them being deployed, and Ryan has to set him behind. They have to be careful with the battling. They can't race too hard because it's going to drop them back. Skyzy is on a knife edge for staying with this train, so if Ryan keeps attacking him, it's going to drop them both back there and potentially out of the figure for a chance at the race win here.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that, but yeah, Skyzy is looking a bit edgy at the moment, and Ryan is all over the back of him. Both very low in the RS. But Ryan is still going to go for it. Raniativ, so Skyzy defends the inside. Looks to be parked into the apex, and that's quite done well from Skyzy there, and he keeps the position for now.
He runs very wide going through Vale, and that's going to compromise his line through Club. He parks it on the apex yet again to keep Ryan at bay. That might have dropped him outside of that DRS, that one mistake. Wesker again closes right up to Carmentos and backs out a little bit going through turn 1. Does not want to take too many risks there. Skyzy again is going to be under pressure. Not a penalty for Ryan. He sits in behind going through Village. He's sitting right on the rear wing, almost pushing the Frenchman round the lap here at Silverstone. Skyzy will not have DRS, I don't think, there, but there's a mistake from Spag up the road that might just bring him back in, and he's able to get a good exit, so he'll be able to survive in front of Ryan, and it looks like he's managed to save it. So Spag has done his teammate a favour by making a mistake and keeps this train together. Slash runs wide and picks up a penalty, and he's got to be careful with that as well. He's right there in the net P4 on track, but the penalties could really shake up the order here.
Yeah, that could definitely, as I don't think Packard or Commensalist or Wesker even has a penalty. So I think it's all quite equal. I'll have to check actually. Yeah, Packard's on 1 warning, Commensalist on 2 I think, and Wesker is on 1 warning as well. So they're still equal there. Slash I think I've seen pick up 2 penalties. So he's got to watch out with those.
Indeed he does there. He can't afford to pick up any more, or else he's going to drop towards the rear of this train. I know Ryan and Dylan do have a fair amount as well, though. That's going to hold them back. Skyzy does look to be struggling a little bit more on raw pace, because again he's beginning to drop back from the back of Spag just up the road. If he can't keep that DRS, he's going to leave him at the mercy of another feisty Ryan move. We've seen he's been on the offensive all the way through. That pit stop really cost him. He's going to be frustrated. He is going to be charging. Ben is able to charge past Ling at the tail end of the field then, and he moves up into 13th place on those hards. Of course, they're both hoping to go to the end after early pit stops, but they are a long way behind at the back of the field. Carmentos is close to Packer, but Packer gets really nice traction coming off of the loop, and I think that's just about gonna secure him up there at the top of the field there. Keeps P5 on track for the time being. Yes, is still there. Again, Skyzy drops back, and again he's outside of that DRS range for the time being. He's got to try and work his way back in, and again he's not got much overtake to use to try and move through as well. It's a bit stagnant at the moment in this train, but you can see there's many charges from Carmentos, from Wesker. Those guys all setting up their overtakes, and of course one mistake can set you back there. The room for error in a train like this is so small.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen Skyzy just not even his back onto that on the edge of the train, and he's already like he's still in, but it's like a gap of 9 lives at the moment. That's where West going to the back of Commentalist I've just seen. Very close together into Stone. No move, however, maybe into Phil.
Go for it.
West is closing up. He's down the inside of Commentalist into Phil.
Oh, contact! Commentalist round!
Contact there. Commentalist indeed around. He'll not be happy with that one.
I think Wesker missed his braking point slightly. They're going for a very ambitious move down the inside, and that's tagged Carmentos and sent him round. He will be absolutely furious. He was running in the lead for some time and still in a net podium position. They're right behind his teammate. Wesker may be going a little bit too ambitious, but Packer has got a little bit more of a gap up at the front now. Wesker is going to try and charge up to the back of him. He's going to drag Slash, Spag, Skyzy, Ryan and Dylan with him up to the net race leader. Still got 4 drivers up at the front yet to pit. Tiger has showed really good pace actually up front. And what is the gap actually? He's 22 seconds ahead of Packer. When he pits, he won't be that far behind this train. And you know, even though it's difficult to overtake, that tyre advantage is going to really help him out, and he could be on the charge at the end of this race. Don't count out Tiger, he could be a man on the move towards the end of this race.
Yeah, in the meantime, Slash is onto the back of Wesker, all over the back indeed. Yeah, the pit stop delta is around 29 seconds, so I have to see. Tiger will be around Compartmentalist if he pits like quite soon. Let's see, Slash is onto the back of Wesker as he's coming towards Stowe, and he goes round the outside. Should be a dumb move towards Stowe, and yeah, Wesker tucks in behind, and Slash is up into a net P2.
Slash moves through now, of course, to see if he has the pace to try and stay with Packer up at the front there. He showed great pace in qualifying. Now he's got to try and use that to good effect to try and stay with the American. He's 9/10 back, so there's no room for error. Fastest lap though, that's going to help his confidence no end, I'm sure. Still, the train is pretty intact, and of course Carmentos has got back up to speed. He is going to be on a furious charge to try and chase down Iro Dillon just up the road, and I reckon Slash has made a bit of an error. I think he's going to be at the mercy of a move from Wesker, almost going through entry there. He's going to be all over him there, and now he uses his overtake to try and get in as much of a buffer as he can, and I don't think Wesker has used any, so he's going to sit up the back of it, but he can't waste too much time if Slash makes mistakes and is not able to stay with Packer. Wesker has to make a move, and quickly there. Slash has got to try and get his act together there. He's got 3/10, nearly 4/10 to make up on Packer, who's charging away at the front.
Yeah, he's looking very pacey. He's down in the arrest though, but yeah, Slash is as well. He's under 10%. Wesker's looking the healthiest in that regard at the moment, around 70%. And he'll definitely be on the charge if keeps the DRS nicely. As Tiger, the race leader, is now into the pits.
Indeed, and we'll see where we reckon he'll come out around about Carmentalist after that spin, so we'll see how that stacks up there. I think Wesker needs to be more aggressive with his overtake just for one time to try and get past Slash, because I think if he uses that, he can get back into the DRS range of Packer and keep his chances of fighting for this race win alive. Another penalty for Dillon. But at the moment there, Slash is almost back in. It's like a pendulum there, swinging back and forth. DRS, no DRS. And you can see if he can gain it back throughout that last sector. Soft tyres are now on the Alfa Romeo, owned and driven by Tiger, in the fastest lap from Carmental, as we mentioned that charge that he is on now. Tiger's going to be a few seconds adrift up at the back of the train for the time being, but of course that charge is coming. Slash not quite there, I don't think. Again, that first sector is usually where he seems to be losing all of that time and dropping back, and again he's not going to be quite in the window. You can see that gap between Tiger and Carmentalist is 2.6 seconds. Carmentalist, he's already showing a lot of raw pace to be able to catch back up, and once he does, progress is going to be challenging. If he can try and move his way through, he may be able to pick his overtakes nicely there, but he's going to have to be so clinical if he wants to get up anywhere near where he was before.
Yeah, definitely, yes. Now about 7 cars to get through, 6, 7, to actually get back into P2. So he's going to have a difficult task ahead of him, same as Tiger. But yeah, 1.4 away from Dillon. Dillon makes a mistake there. Don't know what that was about, but he's falling back as Tiger picks up time penalty, and the other 2 medium runners are into the pits.
Ryan
Be more than what we're following.
Ryan looks around the outside of Skyzy going through Stowe. That's cut off there, and he's spinning. He gets on the traction a bit too early there, and Ryan spears off into the wall in the exit of Stowe there. Disaster for the XL driver, and he's going to drop well down the field there, and that's created another break in the train. So now it's beginning to split up, as now we've got the medium starters all in there. That is Chubbs now emerging there, along with McCrew, along with Morgan. Where are they going to end up? How far can they charge? They're going to be a long way down the field though, so there's going to be a lot of progress ahead. I think about more than half the field is within 5 seconds of the race lead now at this point. So it is absolutely insane. Well, just about half the field anyway, a little bit less, but you know, it's just so tight. That spin from Ryan in such a close field has put him well down for fighting for a top 5. Now he's down in P11, and with those tyres that he's already put on, and against these fresh soft runners, he's going to have a very long day at the office if he wants to move forward now.
Yeah, definitely. It's lead behind McCrew and Captain Chubb, so be on the charts, and I reckon they'll have a lot more pace at the moment.
Indeed. Now, of course, Tiger is trying to get himself back with it. Now, Dillon is going to have to wrestle himself back into the DRS range of Skyzy as well if he wants to stay in contention or not be putting it under heavy pressure from Carmentos, who has used so much ERS to try and get back to the back of him. So overtaking is going to be a real challenge for him now, but Dylan is running very low as well in fairness, so he's going to be again having to look over his shoulder and his mirrors at the charging Haas behind him. Still, Slash might have got himself back in finally versus Packer. Again, it's like that pendulum in the last sector of the lap. Slash seems to be quicker, but usually in that first sector is where Packer pulls out. Fastest lap from Tiger closing down. Slash has literally no ERS to deploy, but I think he's just about managed to wrestle himself back into DRS, so if he can close further up to the back of the Haas in front of him, he can use that, save his ERS and attack later on versus Packer. But I don't think Packer has a penalty, and Slash I think has two, so he is going to be well up against it to try and get a gap on Packer around such a DRS dependent track, but at least he's now with him so he can challenge him now out on track.
Yeah, definitely, and to point out, Packer, neither Packer or Slash have a lot of ERS, as you mentioned. Wesker in behind 80%, Svag in behind on 60%. They could be on for a late lap charge, or the final laps. I reckon they'd be close enough. So Tiger is now almost within the DRS of Commensalus, one to look out for as well.
Indeed, now as they're all beginning to converge, it's a bit of a top five with Dylan and Carmentos, and now Tiger just straggling off the end of it then. So Dylan's got to try and make up a few tenths, but he's not got the ERS to do so at the moment there. He's got to try and find something extra, and Carmentos as well with nothing to use. These guys are a little bit of sitting ducks at the moment there, as Tiger cruising up to the back of them at the moment, but still we've got a 5-car train for the race lead now, and I do think Wesker, if he was a little bit more aggressive with his overtake potentially, he's maybe saving it for a charge in the last few laps, but he kind of missed his chance of getting past Slash when he didn't have DRS off of Packer, and now that he does, he's going to have a much harder task at trying to get past that AlphaTauri.
Yeah, definitely true, but he is right on the back of Slash at the moment. I don't think he's close enough for a move at the moment. So right in picture of another time penalty. His race has gone from bad to worse at the moment, not gonna lie. For him behind with Carmentalus looking onto the back of Dylan. Is he gonna go for a move? No, he's not. He's staying in behind, and this allows Tiger to close up even more. And he'll be looking for a move as well on the both of them.
It did it well now with that tyre grip advantage. He can now use that to close up to the back end, pull off manoeuvres on two drivers that are really struggling to manage their ERS, and Dylan is now beginning to pace. He's lost a few tenths now, gets out of shape going through comps. I think Carmentos is going to have to be decisive now if he wants to try and move up in this race from where he was before, but it's going to be so difficult for him there. Slash is quite close to Packer, but again, absolutely no spare ERS to deploy, and he gets up to within a few car lengths but not close enough. Carmentos again within a few car lengths, but no ERS is not close enough to Dylan, and Tiger still just honing in. He's going to be frustrated behind these guys now who are not quite with the train, and looks like we might not be ever, as they're dropping back slowly but surely from the top 5 up at the front. Still Packer leads. Slash in second place. He's run up the front the whole time, just shy of the race leaders, but he's not quite been able to claim it for himself just yet. Packer has got to try and hold his nerve then. Of course, a former Division 3 driver knows what it's like to win races, but of course never in this sort of company, and I'm sure his heart is going to be pumping. Wesker, he's got to try and use that ERS at some point. We've got less than 7 laps to go. It's now or never really if he wants to win this race. He's not got a penalty, I don't believe, or at least might not have, as Carmentos down the inside on Dylan, going through Brooklands. He's made that decisive manoeuvre there, and Dylan fights back to the outside of Luffield, but he's got to watch his back there because Tiger is sitting in behind with those grippier tyres there, puts on that throttle and is unable to quite get through. Carmentos up in the 6th now. Does he have the pace? As Tiger
down the inside of Gops.
Can he pull off that move there? They're going to go wheel to wheel. Dylan holds it right outside of contact and spins into the side of him there. Tiger manages to keep it together, but Dylan spears off to the side of the road, losing traction, and he is out of contention now in this race. Better disappointment for Dylan, as with a few things that went differently in this race, it could have been such a unique result for him, but now outside that top 10 there, a miserable day now for Dylan.
Yeah, he'll be very disappointed with that, I reckon, but now Slash is winning 2 and 3 tenths of Packer, and he's looking quite feisty at the moment, and Wesker's not far behind either, as usual. So let's see how this pans out. 6 laps to go. Spacker still out in front, but for how long?
Indeed, for how long can he hold out there? Of course, it's not a huge deal if Slash gets past him at this stage, as long as he doesn't pick up a penalty. Bit of oversteer there for Packer, and that's the first time he's looked really, really vulnerable up at the front. Dylan now out of the race, retires in the pit lane. Is there anything that can be deployed from Slash? Packer uses quite a substantial amount of overtake to try and gap him, and it's done just enough to maintain that lead for now. But maybe his defence is showing cracks there. He can't afford those oversteer moments. Otherwise, Slash can immediately take advantage and get through. And Wesker, of course, can take advantage with 90% of ERS. He is going to be so dangerous if he's presented with any opportunity by these front two.
Yeah, definitely. In the meantime, Tigers got past Carmentelis into Brooklands. And he'll be on the charge now. He's 2 seconds behind Skyview. Let's see if he can make that up.
Yep, of course, those fresh tyres won't be as much of an advantage now as Benji S, I think, has gone off down at Lovefield, and he drops behind XL Link with a measurable day for both of them.
Slashes onto the back of Packer. Come on,
going for it.
Let's see, down the inside he goes. Let's see, can he hold it as he goes very tight, and Packer has the better exit, and let's see what can Wesker do. Slash is still looking towards Phil, but he's not getting past there. Packer maintains the lead, but he's really under pressure at the moment.
Yeah, Packer did very well to hold that rounding outside of Stowe. Wesker was almost straight into the back of Slash as they all checked up going through that final Vale complex. But yeah, I think Packer is going to be very vulnerable now. That train has bunched up to such an extent now that he's going to be under pressure through the DRS straights every time if he makes any sort of mistake. Again, Slash is close. Packer does have slightly more ERS at his disposal and uses it again to get that gap that he needs. Slash still with 80%. Now the overtake comes into play from Slash. I meant Wesker still has 80%, sorry, but yeah, Packer using that early on in the acceleration zone, just out the traction zone, is doing enough at the moment, at least down the Wellington straight, to be able to maintain his lead against Slash. And yeah, Wesker now, I am expecting a charge from him in these last few laps, so when he's going to make the move is a matter of when, not if, I'm pretty sure. But Packer holding out in that race lead, but again, he can't afford to make errors, otherwise he can get wave Slash right through. Slash is bearing down on him, but that dirty air is holding him back through the high-speed corners there, and it's keeping Packer alive at the moment there. He gets a good exit though, and switches on that overtake, but he's not got much at his disposal, and I think he might not be able to close down Packer. He is gaining slowly but surely down the straight. Does he go for it to Stowe? Looks to the inside, backs out last minute, forces Packer a little bit off the line, off the optimal racing line, and now he's trying to bear down on him, going down towards the Vale, sits in behind for now, but Packer again is having to defend now pretty much every lap, and that's going to bunch them all up there, and we've got such a tight top 5. Tiger as well, not too far behind, but these top 5 all well within DRS. All of them can take the win if they get the right opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. Slash still looking dangerous onto the back, but both of the race leaders still low on ERS. And Wesker still maintaining that 75%. And let's see, is he going to use a lot of it? As Slash is a bit of a bad exit, but he compromised with the overtake button a bit. And he closes the back up the Packer. No move there for now.
Yeah, has to sit behind there, and these two Williams drivers of Spag and Skyzy are just sitting ominously waiting for any sort of mistake. Looks like Tiger's tyres are just starting to fade a little bit there, because Carmentelis is bearing down on him now and beginning to come back at the Alfa Romeo. We cannot look away from this lead battle. It is so close, and of course can change in the blink of an eye. These guys are going to have to be so aware, but again, the lack of ERS from Slash has not given him any real opportunity to get past Packer, except for that one time. He's very close now, but can he get a good run? Again, both of them use the overtake there. And now they've got nothing in reserve, and Wesker is starting to use his now and closing down, but Slash closing down on Packer now towards Stowe, goes to the inside there. He's going to go full committed now down the inside. Can he clear him there? Packer again holds around the outside and he's able to get through. Here comes Wesker again to the outside, going towards Vale versus Slash. Can he pull this one off himself? A run on Packer these last 3 laps, but he has to back out. Slash pinches him to the inside of Club Corner, and now Spag is sitting in ominously in behind, looking for a move potentially on Wesker. Wesker used some of his reserve of ERS, but it wasn't enough, and now Spag's looking to try and nab that podium position for him. He's looking down the inside of the village, late lunge from Spag, but it's half-hearted, I think, and Wesker can hold that one around the outside, keeps P3 and runs very deep on the entry into the loop, but I think he'll just about be able to hold P3 and maybe even have a run at Slash here, but Slash using all the last of his overtake yet again. It's now Spag down the inside, going down into Brooklands. Can he get that one stopped? Round the outside goes Wesker, and can he hold that one out there? Spag pushes it off the track and manages to get through into third place. A very aggressive move from Spag, but it comes off, and he is all into the podium places now, and Wesker's rather conservative strategy may have come back to bite him in these last few laps here. As further back, Chubbs and McCrew now battling away over 8th place, but Wesker, he had the raw pace, but maybe strategically he's just made a few choices that have hampered his chances of getting the win. Now he's got 2 cars between himself and Packer, and with I think Packer, both the cars behind him may have penalties, so all he has to do is keep it clean. Packer could be headed for a race win here.
Yeah, I should say that I don't think Spag has penalty. I'll have a check. He's only had 1 warning, so I think Spag could be on for late charges as well. He has a decent amount of ERS, but he has 2 cars ahead of him with 2 laps to go. It's going to be tough for him. Let's see how he pulls it off, or if he pulls it off.
Slash could be the deciding factor in this Grand Prix there as he bears down on Packer, but if he manages to pull a move, it makes Packer vulnerable against the charging Spag, who does have more ERS to play with than that top 2 who have been struggling for laps and laps on end. Still Wesker sits in there, but at the moment it looks like he's a bit of a secondary figure in this race now, unless some drama kicks off in these last 2 laps ahead. Expect a charge from Slash there, but Packer is being very smart with where he deploys his ERS and is able to just about keep him at bay, and still Spag using that overtake to get a gap over Wesker. Wesker could go ham on that last lap if he really wants to, but I don't think he's going to be able to charge up quickly enough. I think that Packer's fate in this race could be decided by Slash. If Slash goes for any move for the race win, for the race lead out on track, then it could leave him vulnerable, and Spag can take any opportunity he can to try and snatch this race win away.
Yeah, and let's see how that unfolds. 1.5 lap to go, and it's still the top 5 close. You can throw blanket over them. 1.6 seconds separated them. Let's see. Slash is now closing through Max and Baggett, and now down into Chapel. Let's see as he engages his overtake button. Let's see into the DRS, into the slipstream. Let's see, can he get past? Slash is looking to get past easily here down into Stowe, and he's into P1 on track.
Now that Spag has a clear run at Packer now, that's going to decide this race win there. Spag has made a charge in these last few laps, and now he has the race victory in his sights. 1 lap left to go, and what has been a thriller here at Silverstone. Slash now establishing himself up at the front of the race there, and Packer is now under more pressure than he's been at any point in this race, but he just has to bring it home without any errors. Spag has the ERS, but not that much more to play with, so he's going to need to get a super exit off of the loop or off of Chapel. I don't think it's coming now, but if Packer goes a little bit too aggressive, maybe he doesn't know about Slash's penalties, thinks he's lost this legitimately out on track, he's using his overtake, he's desperate to try and get back. Slash has this out on track, but we know he has penalties, we know he's going to fall back at the end of this race at the checker flag. Wesker is trying to snatch a position off of Spag now, still with all the ARS in the world to play with to try and get any offensive run at it there. Packer is charging further back down the field. Chubbs cruises past McCrew down the main straight and up into 8th, but we're going to focus now on this lead battle. Slash staying ahead just about versus Packer. Packer is close going into the Magnus and Beckett's complex there. Is he going to be able to hold it out? Now, in this last few corners there, Packer a little bit slow, going through Chapel, and Spag is right with him. Spag, he's going to have 1 chance at this, maybe, into the last few corners, but the DRS could save Packer here. He's going to close up to Slash as well, and they're all going to bunch up there. The top 3, nose to tail, going into the final few corners. Slash stays ahead. Spag drops back just a little bit, and Wesker now attacking Spag. Does that secure Packer? Late lunge from Spag, but it's half-hearted. He has to back out last minute, and Packer to the inside of Slash, almost loses it off the last traction zone. Slash over the line, comes through. Packer has done it. Packer with the race win. What a race here at Silverstone. Spag was only just about able to stay ahead of Wesker. He gave it a go, but ultimately was too far behind. What a race here at Silverstone, and Packer has pulled it off in what has been a sensational race there. He had to see it off. Slash, the penalties cost him in the end. Spag just a little bit too little too late. Wesker could have potentially won it as well, but Packer it is who's managed to come through it, drove the race perfectly, managed it well, and in the end he's been rewarded with a race win in this final pre-season race.
Yeah, now we're just waiting for Excelling. Is I think going for the fastest lap. I have no idea if he got it actually. Yeah, he has. It's 26.4. That's by far the fastest. Yeah, he'll come around Stowe. And, we need a little break from this as well now.
Man. D2 never fails to surprise, never fails to impress, and we have seen yet again a display of sensational racing driving out there. Thank you so much, Division 2. You have given us yet another incredible race, and there's a multitude of drivers that could have potentially won that one. But in the end, it was Iro Packer who came out on top in this race. We saw his pace early on in the session, used the undercut to perfection, held on just about at the front of the race, and he's been rewarded with a race win here.
Yeah, definitely. He's done this perfectly, strategically. And not to mention Spag either, he's done it very well. He's just not been able to finish it off in the final lap. But he's driven a very good race as well. And Wesker very clean and out in P3, and that can close the podium. As in P4 we have Mr. Skyzy. It's a bit of a quiet race for him. Then Carmentelis, who unfortunately was spun into Phil. Then Slash him behind with the penalties, not too nice to see. Tiger in 7th on the late charge, also a few penalties for him. McCrew into P8. Ryan in 9th and B Morgan rounding up the top 10. Then Captain Chops, Benji S and Ling the final ones to finish. And we have Dylan Sabino and Sparrold all retiring from the race.
Well, yeah, that is going to be it then for our third pre-season race. The season will start just a week from now in Australia, Albert Park. We're going to see you then, and I think both of us are going to need a little bit of a lie down after that one. I know my voice is pretty much gone, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for you as well after what was another sensational British Grand Prix, just like it was last season. We hope you all enjoyed, and yeah, I don't think there's much more for us to say. We're just going to wrap this up quickly. So yeah, what happened, Zaka? He's been Verstappen, and until next time, we'll see you later.